Well, folks, out of this bunch, I'm guessing that we're getting the Rheinmetall Begleitwagen as this year's New Year's gift, similar to last year's T3E2 convertible, and the rest are holiday ops filler tanks for gold stipend or duplicates, copies, but either that or the Strv M31. So usually it's a tier 3 or tier 2, but they want to have a spread of like tier 2 to tier 5 for the filler tanks, and normally it's 5 of them, so it's always been like that. So 1 is the gift, but alright, I have to update this spreadsheet for this year's guess of the holiday ops boxes. But the $1 million question is is there going to be a tier system yet again? But I have to update. This is outdated, of course. These are outdated. So let's take a look at the filler tanks. But R35 FCM36 hybrid FCM turret on the R35 body, and it is well armored for tier 2, 40-ish millimeters all the way around, if I remember correctly. But it's slow. It's sub 10 horsepower per ton ratio, like 6 or 7. It's really slow to rev. But tier 2s have preferential matchmaking. They don't see tier 4s anymore, and they don't see like stuff like the 𝗙𝗶𝗃 or Matildas. So those are big killers. Or FCM 36 with the pack 40. Oh, okay. But yeah, it's a small, well armored turtle of a tank, 2-man crew. Cannot carry medical kits or fire extinguisher, right? You can only carry like 1 consumable now. 37mm, yeah, of course. DPM's crap, but then again, tier 2 cannot even penetrate itself with normal AP rounds. Have to use gold, but it's a low tier vehicle, right? Garbage accuracy, of course. 17 degrees of gun depression. That's nice. It turns slowly for the turret, but what? It's tier 2. So 40mm of armor all the way around, other than hull rear. But yeah, I'm not using a 120 with 200mm pin, of course. Let's use a 40mm with like, I'll give 40-ish, 45-ish millimeters of pin. So it's good for bottom tier, or yeah, okay, but only strip of 15 on some parts of the turret. Low tier still will struggle somewhat. Yeah, it's mostly for bottom tier against like T7 combat cars or something. Or Panzer 1Cs machine gun rounds. Let's see if I can put the let's just a 20mm with like 30mm pin. Yeah, you're not penetrating this thing. Yeah, there's no way, other than this sliver above the driver hatch. Okay, so normally it's armored against machine guns. More or less, other than this vent exhaust on the back end, or just strip of only 10mm. So okay, but yeah, it's only for low tier vehicles, right? But yeah, it's well armored. Garbage mobility though, you'll feel it. 7.7 horsepower per ton ratio, 23 km/h top speed, and you can only mount 1 equipment, right? Or 2, I forget, I need to check. But alright, so likely putting a turbocharger on this thing at tier 1 or tier 2. Camo, low tier, view range. You might as well jump out the vehicle and signal with your hand signal, right? You can see further than your radio. So use a flag or something. But alright, tier 2 is tier 2. The Rheinmetall Begleitwagen. Alright, it's a big beast in comparison to the MBFZ. So that thing is even bigger. It's like a multi-turret vehicle too, if I remember correctly. But looks like a Panzer 1 turret stuck onto an actual like a Vickers medium tank a little bit, with the sponsons, and a Panzer 3 turret on top. Large cupola. 𝗟𝗶𝗹𝗆𝗆, by the way. L21 or L20. But the same derp gun on Panzer 3s and Panzer 4s. But mostly Panzer 3s. Yeah. It's cute how the Panzer I turret made as a mini turret onto the vehicle. It's like a Panzer I turret-ish with the machine gun. But yeah, 75 L21 derp gun. Crew of 6. There's a lot of people in there, Jesus. But DPM for tier 3, not the worst. But you'll get chewed out by Matildas. You can't even penetrate Matildas. How about Gold Shell? Maybe at direct close range, flat hits, maybe. But you're going to get picked on by like Matildas and FCM 36, Pack 40s. You will not see tier 5s. Luckily, you will not see tier 5s like the leaf blower, which chews this thing out. But yeah, okay. 30mm of armor at the front, 20 at the sides, no armor. Practically. You'll get machine gun. Yeah, you'll still get pinned by machine gun half the time too. Okay, I'm using Q plus only 20. Alright. Yeah, okay. Not really that much armor. 20 for the hull sides. And you get machine gun. I'm using machine gun as default caliber at bottom tier or low tiers. Yeah, you're getting pinned. Other than shooting at the tracks, I don't know, you'll still get pinned. So, okay. It's like a weird hybrid pseudo multi-turret vehicle. Pseudo, but this thing is not used. 16 horsepower per ton ratio at bottom tier is okay. Usually, some of the vehicles, some of the light tanks and mediums could go above 20 at tier 4 or tier 3, but, you know, alright, fine. That's still workable. Only 32 km per hour top speed, though, so not the fastest, right? Camo's alright. Still having better view range than actual radio coverage, so just jump out the vehicle and wave a flag around or something, but alright, it's free gift is free, or filler tank is possibly another filler compared to the STRV M31. Okay. Of course, it should be like 37. Of course it is. Well, similar to any other Swedish vehicles. Not really that inspiring, right? Big ass in the back. Gets rusted. Has a bunch of chains for the emo kids. Okay. But, okay, filler tank is filler, that's fine. It's also elevated engine deck, so technically you could shoot at the engine from the front, if that's a thing, but 37, crew of 3, it fits all the... We don't have Swedish high tier light tanks. I had to say fits a Swedish medium tanks, now it's a light tank, alright. So you're just putting random crews from the Swedish line into this vehicle for fun, right? So the downside to it is no high tier crew for the actual vehicle because there's no Swedish light tanks at high tier. Whatever. DPM for tier 3 is meh, right? Compared to the 1600, but then again, that's a derp gun compared to a actual penetrating AP round. 7 degrees gun suppression. Gun handling seems okay without seeing the dispersion while moving, but 78mm of pin is alright. I mean, the better pin is about 90 to 100. You're not really getting that out of a tier 3. At least this thing will penetrate a Matilda at a flat angle, right? I'm using the Matilda as a Matilda 2 as the boss character because that thing is pretty much carrying tier 4s, other than the FCM 36 or maybe the Hetzer in some case scenario. But paper armor all the way around, 24. We'll get machine gun again. Yeah, it will get machine gun. Only 8 at this part. Jesus, what the hell is this? There's a bow machine gun for the gunner, likely. But then again, the gunner... No, for the driver? The commander's in the back. The commander should also be the loader? But somehow there's a bow machine gun for only a 3-man crew. It's maybe like the vehicle stationary, the driver moves over and uses the bow machine gun. Possibly, but could be a 4-man crew, technically. Yeah, you have no armor. 24 for the hull side, you're getting machine gun. Our engine deck is only 8. You can also shoot the engine deck from the front if you're side scraping. You don't side scrape at low tier. Unless you're playing the Matilda, you don't even know. 19 horsepower per turn ratio is not bad. 45 kilometers per hour top speed is okay. Not the fastest. Still having better view range than radio coverage. Of course. Alright, moving on. Actual slightly getting higher tier. Škoda T15A. It looks even more sloped than the actual lighting, right? The Škoda T15 at tier 6 has actual slope armor. But was it like Skoda T17? Before the machine gun actually coming in. That thing has a smaller pike hull. I forgot the name already. Oh crap. It's been like a year since the autocannons came out for the Czechs, and I just completely okay. At least they have a high tier light tank line, I guess, but alright. 47mm gun. It's tier 4 though. DPM's okay. 97mm of pin is not bad. You can actually pin the Matilda, but no armor whatsoever. 10 degrees gun depression. 30 at the hull front. 35 on the turret front. It will stop machine guns, right? You will bounce machine guns other than some... you'll bounce machine guns. That luckily, Panzer 1Cs runabout have to shoot the side armor. Yeah, they have to shoot the side armor. Only 25. That's a plus. You cannot get countered by a suiciding Panzer 1C. Other than rear. Of only 20. So, alright. 25 horsepower per turn ratio. That's pretty decent. And 60 kilometers per hour top speed. Yeah, now we're getting better mobility, right? Definitely better mobility. And you're keeping the camo while moving. That's good. View range is a lot better. Radio range is a lot better. It's actually not half bad of a tier 4. Especially the firepower when you think about it, right? You can actually pin. But tier 4s will see tier 6s, unfortunately. You will see something like a KV-2 just nuke you into orbit. Or at least like an OI or something. Oh, that will also nuke you, so don't get too close. Don't directly engage. Your gun is good against some tier 5 medium tank armor. Not all, but some. So yeah, you're using the mobility for the view range and the camo. A crew of 3 fits the autocannons. Was it? I need to make sure. I'm getting old. I'm forgetting all the vehicles. There's so many vehicles, I forget all the time. Check Škoda T17. Yeah, Škoda T17 with the pike hull front. Okay. That's way before the actual machine gun comes in. Cromwell Applique armor with space armored. It's not space if you look at the actual armor model. I took a look already, but unfortunate. So this is a tier lower for some reason, right? When it's upgrading the Cromwell, even though does it have the Meteor engine? It does have the Meteor engine. It has a 6-pounder though. All right. So more of a rapid firing vehicle, but yeah, it's a Cromwell with supposedly space armored. Attached to the hull and turret front. Somehow the turret does kind of look a little bit more chunky, but then again, haven't played the Cromwell in a bit. I love the Cromwell. It's fast, it's nimble, it got buffed with the gun depression, so that's nice. Similar to the Cromwell B that got later buffed, but still got buffed with the gun depression. But after 2.0, see crew of 5 with the radio operator. DPM's alright for a tier 5, but then again, some tier 5 medium tanks have... Well, that's tier 6. Not comparing to the T34 with the peanut thrower, 57. So DPM's still alright, especially fitting a rammer. Accuracy could be a lot better, right? But then again, you're a rapid firing gun with a 6-pounder. Alright. 800 health, 102 for the hull front, 102 for the turret front. They say it's space armor. It's actually just flat armor attached. There's no spacing in between. I'm not using a machine gun anymore. Let's use a 90 with about 150, 170-ish millimeters of pin. Yeah, we'll pin. That's a take the shorter gun, practically. But yeah, let's use a 75. Medium tank gun with about 105 millimeters of pin. Yeah, you'll still get pinned, right? Battle machine gun, driver hatch, still 65. You'll get pinned. Upper plate is only 25. Oh no. 82. Where's the 100? Only on this middle plate? For the actual chassis. Alright. On the turret, 100. You have slightly better armor, but that's superfluous at this point, right? 100 is the same as 75 or 50 at tier 5, right? Unless you have like 150 or 200 at tier 5. Similar to a OI or Mito 100, right? Not the 150. The original... God damn it. The OI 120. They're tier 5, right? So you're not having that crazy amount of armor. It's only a medium tank and cannot really stop a medium tank gun. It can only stop a light tank gun, right? Like the Škoda T15A. But yeah, armor is okay against smaller caliber guns, but it's superfluous at this point. It's not even spaced. It's just regular armor. Yeah, you say spaced. It's not spaced armor. It's just flat armor attached. Just additional armor attached. At least it's 20.7 horsepower per ton ratio, even though actual Cromwell has about like 25. It's pretty zippy. Top speed sucks for a Cromwell. 40. That's slow. At least 50, right? That's slow for a Cromwell. Camo's okay. Radio's crap. At tier 5 for a medium, that radio's crap. Oh no. Yeah, you have better time with the actual Cromwell. OCD acting up. I need to see the original OG Cromwell B. British medium tier 6. Where's the OG? I hate not having stats page on the main screen. Yeah, 64 for the actual armor. Yeah, 25 with the horsepower, with the turbocharger or so, right? And about 70-ish kilometers per hour top speed with a turbocharger. At least the radio is a little bit better, but no comparison, right? That is so much fat. Even the Ultraverse is very zippy, but yeah, it's not really the Cromwell. Even the regular Cromwell is also... yeah, they buffed it with the gun depression. Now 13, of course. So with 28 horsepower per ton, that is pretty zip. So definitely, it's okay in mobility, but at that point, I would rather have better mobility, right? You're going half-assed into the actual armor without getting that much more benefits out of the debuff to the engine power, right? So the armor package is not really necessary. It doesn't really help you that much. I would rather have better mobility at this point. The 40 kilometers per hour top speed, that is rough. All right, and finally T115. Multi-turret too, but this vehicle debuted on the Russian server for their well-deserved reward. For last year, they're getting the Slugger, the Jackson Sherman, this time around. The M36 Sherman tank with the 90mm, but similar to the Black Prince 2, garbage DPM, like really bad. But this vehicle is like a ballooned up BT series or so, right? With the Christie suspension, or is that torsion bar or Christie? Can't tell, but should be. At least the wheels are rubber. So yeah, it's a pseudo medium light tankish, but 76mm gun, 76mm gun. DPM's alright, not bad. Penetration is alright, not bad. Accuracy, aim time could be, well, it's Russian, it's okay, right? It's not the worst. And for a 76, at least the DPM is like pretty decent, right? On stuff like with high alpha 76, like the actual T34, that thing has like 1,500 DPM. So you usually want the 57 on the T34. But crew of 5 for the radio operator spot. 90 at the hull front, 100 at the turret front. It's like the Cromwell Applique, except bigger body, I guess. Yeah, it's also 100. More consistent for the upper plates. Definitely for this plate that right here, it's at least bouncy, right? Compared to like 25 sloped. And 60 for the bottom plate. Yeah, it's a little bit more effective. Other than the mini turrets for the driver and radio operator. But no. Driver's here. Who the hell sits right here? Commander, loader, gunner. Well, I think that it's another scenario where the driver could just switch or shift places into another machine gun if needed. But at least one of these is radio operator. The other one is vacant or something, but alright. 16.7 horsepower per ton ratio, 48 kilometers per hour top speed. Decent medium tank mobility. Not the best, but the okay, workable. Camo's kind of crap. It's kind of a big body too. It's almost like a heavy tank, like a KV chassis almost. It would be funny if this thing is about the same size as a KV. View range crap. Radio range also kind of crap. No. I need to see the actual size. Make a mental note. It's about the same size as a Sherman, but is it the same size as a KV-1? It's about the same size as the KV-1. Not as big in the ass, which is okay, but let's see. Yeah, not as big in the ass department, but it's about the same size. A little bit smaller than a KV-1. So, balloon KV-1 in a sense. Alternative to the T29 medium tank. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. All the filler tanks for this year's holiday ops, as well as the gift, one of the which. But compared to the Russian server, this is their well-deserved reward. We already covered this. It's a Slugger Jackson turret on top of a Sherman, except DPM sucks. It's fast to aim and decent enough accuracy, but god, the DPM garbage. Takes about 10 seconds with a rammer. For a 90mm at tier 6 is garbage, right? Garbage. But they already had the T115 for last year's well-deserved reward. You get it for free. And it has 21 horsepower per ton ratio. That's a lot better engine power. And 50 kilometers per hour top speed. It's a lot more nimble, but at the cost of armor. It's only 50 at the hull and turret front. That is crap. So I would rather have this version, right, with better mobility than actual armor. Garbage armor all the way, okay. So this thing has practically half the armor of our version, but better mobility. Garbage gun though. For our 76 again, 76. But DPM is dramatically worse. 1400 compared to our like 2100. That's dramatically worse with longer aim time and crappier accuracy. Okay? And only 5 degrees of gun depression compared to like 10 or 8. Alright, fine. Yeah, our version has a better punching gun too with the 76. It's not as fast, granted, but ours have better view range for some reason. Also crew of 5. Alright. I mean, it's the same model too with the mantlet and the model. But 76 on Russian tanks at tier 5 has surprisingly garbage DPM. I remember. Stuff like the T34. You don't really use a T34 76. You use the 57 to throw peanuts. Yeah, throw peanuts with the 57. High DPM with the rammer, of course. And mobility's not bad. Turbocharger helps, but you can't even play with the models. God, I hate the new UI. Sucks. 76. Oh, they buffed it. Did they buff it? They actually buffed it. Originally, the 76 had like 1400, 1500 DPM. They actually buffed it. So, I mean, you can still use. It's still viable now. It's more viable than originally. Yeah, it's more viable, but Will you want that, or would you want to throw peanuts? That's what I haven't played this thing since the 2.0 update, but alright. So there we go, folks. All the filler tanks, all the stuff. A side note about the Russian server, they already have the T115, but for this year's well-deserved reward, instead of getting 2.0, they don't have 2.0. They got their alpha update, right, earlier this year, but they don't have the free tier 10. So for their well-deserved reward, they have tested this on their common test for 1.38. And that is, you get a free tier 10 tech tree vehicle. Not the whole tech tree, granted, but only a free tier 10, along with the well-deserved reward tokens for token stuff. But you can pick your choice out of a tier 10 vehicle. Not the whole line, of course, but that means I picked the Merkava since I don't play the thing. Whatever. Also the bond and other stuff. So compensating, I guess the Russian players also spectating our servers and seeing that we're giving out free whole freaking tech trees and just like, why the hell don't we get a free tier 10? So yeah, the grass is always not greener on the other side, right? Expect noobs with tier 10s to run about as well on the Russian server. But then again, it's for well-deserved reward. It's not for like anybody, right? So you cannot just boot the game up and get 2 free tier 10s with the whole tech tree. In a sense, but whatever. Okay. And they got the Russian Panther for anniversary gift, not the New Year's gift. So this is similar to our AMX 901 in a sense, ELC 901, but they got a Russian Panther, same stats as the Poodle or the Brittany in a sense, but yeah, we could see the Russian Panther. Might as well. You get like 4 freaking copies of the Panther at tier 6. Whatever. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.